buddy. Do you want to play a game? Would you like to play a game?
Do you want to play a game?
It's do you want to play a game, right? Not
Yeah.
would you like to play a game?
Yeah. No, it's not even do you want to play a game. It's I want to play. I want to play a game.
Yeah.
He's not asking him. He's not giving him an option. But I feel like everybody always says, "Do you want to?"
Yeah, I always ask.
Yeah.
I always ask well, I'm polite. We're Midwesterners. We're polite.
True. Well, and I think that part of it is the Scream thing too.
Oh.
Do you like scary movies? I think people kind of blend the two. Mm-hmm. But it's I would like to play a game, or I want to play a game.
I want to play a game.
It's he's not giving him an option.
Have we figured out where the Saw movies take place? At least the first 9. Well, I would say first like 7 or 8.
I always thought it was like a Chicago.
Chicago or Boston, but I can never figure
Boston's
out
a good
Carrie Elwes' accent.
Well, Carrie couldn't figure out his accent. Bless that man. Where's he from?
Isn't he a Brit?
Is he a Brit?
Carrie Elwes?
That seems right. I mean, his accent is in that first Saw is really it's special. It's the whole performance is very.
He's an English actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly, but Westminster. Oh, he's from Westminster. I don't know if that's hoity-toity. I know we've got some.
I don't know anything about.
Yeah. I know we've got some English, some British listeners. So they
let us know what's up with. Tell us about Carrie Elwes.
Where he's from. He's from Westminster.
Yeah.
He's always looked very proper and come across very proper.
He has come across that way. A true gentleman. Yes. I like Carrie. I like Carrie Elwes.
Me too.
Yeah.
He's just wacky and Saw.
He's very wacky in that. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. He viewed that movie as a certain type of movie.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a horror movie yearbook.
This is horror movie yearbook.
We're going to be talking about Saw X here in a little bit.
We are not jumping in a time machine for this one.
Mm-mm.
We're not headed back to
already
another
here.
decade. We are solidly in 2023. Although, I don't know. I think you agree. It's days like these I'd like to hop into a time machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you want to go?
Ugh, anywhere. Anywhere but here. Yeah. Yeah. My elbow feels like it's been in a saw trap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I hurt my elbow, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Inside. Outside, it's fine.
I'm trying to I'm not very creative. I could never be like an engine, like a Jigsaw, because I just kind of feel bad.
The founder could do it.
Yeah, this is not my thing. Like I see like these kids love playing those video games where you build stuff, and I'm like, what? Yeah. What happened to like hockey games?
Well, I like Legos.
Do you want to talk about your elbow?
No, I hurt my elbow.
It's bad.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to do anything to you like torture you.
Things that are torn in there.
It sounds like it's torture enough. Yeah.
Yes, there's things that are torn in there. Apparently, you know what's crazy is I didn't do anything to it.
Yeah,
like there was no specific injury that caused. I was getting my hair cut. Yeah. And I shifted.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I couldn't move my elbow anymore. It was like a snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was weird. I don't suggest it to anybody.
This is like what I've learned is even watching these Saw movies, nothing is more torturous than moving in your 30s, your late 30s.
That's right. That's right.
Just regular, normal movements. I have a pain right here in my knee. I rode the bike yesterday for 30 minutes, and like I'm just I couldn't ride the bike all day today. I'm walking on it. I'm just like, it just hurts.
Yeah, and like neither one of us are like out of shape. No. Like we're not like
we're just old.
Yeah, like we're not that old.
Well,
what is 60 gonna feel like? Holy,
it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a Cronenberg movie.
Anyway, sorry I brought that up.
If people are interested in Fall of the House of Usher, the Midwest Film Nerds covered it, the whole thing.
Amazing that the Film Nerds are back.
The Film Nerds are back.
We didn't get an invite for that.
I did not, but I haven't watched it. Did you finish it? Did you like it?
I did. It's not my favorite of the Flanagan shows.
What's your favorite?
Midnight Mass.
I kind of like Hill House.
Hill House is second, but close second.
Okay.
And if so, be Midnight Mass, Hill House. This one.
I never finished.
I didn't like Bly Manor as much. As
I didn't finish Bly Manor. I didn't like it.
Fine. Yeah. But I didn't. I have not watched Midnight Club, but that's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, I didn't watch Midnight Club. I didn't even bother with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Bly Manor's lack of, I don't want to say quality because it's well made, but like there were multiple directors on Bly Manor, whereas the other ones were Flanagan, I think, all the way through.
Okay.
And so I think that makes a difference.
Yeah. So, yeah, if any of our listeners are interested in a very, I'm sure, very excellent in-depth conversation on that, because I know they're all fans. I think it's Alex, Nick, and John.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch, by the way.
Yeah.
Check it out at some point when you get a chance. It's definitely, it was cool. It's mean.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of looked.
It's mean.
Yeah.
And his other ones aren't really mean.
I'm excited for that, actually.
It's also sexy. like sexy in the sense that like people are doing it a lot and in weird ways.
This sounds like my kind of show.
Oh, you're gonna like this. This might be your favorite one.
This might end up being my favorite. I didn't dislike Midnight Mass. It just got like I'm like, hey, Mike, I remember saying like, Mike, I wish you would write a book, Flanagan. Like, I wish you would write a book.
It's a little bit. Midnight Mass is a little bit like wistful. It's a little bit like.
By like episode 6, though, I'm like, hey, another monologue.
Yeah, right.
Like, come on.
This is not that.
Okay. See, like, I think I might be.
There's an orgy.
Sold.
And the orgy ends well. That's all I'm gonna say.
So check them out, and then check out the Game Nerds. They're talking a little more Spider-Man 2. So.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Have you played? Yes, you have been playing.
I have not. I've been playing Zelda.
I thought you played Spider-Man 2.
No, I'm asking. Like, that's going to be a Christmas ask.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Because
I hope you get it. I hope all your wishes come true.
Oh man, we've knock on wood. We've got the boy sleeping in his crib, like napping in his crib for like long periods this past week. Oh, sleep training. Oh, this is going to open up a brand new world.
Oh, Tim. Tim?
I'm just on cloud 9.
Things are about to hit a peak for you.
Yeah.
And then they're going to maybe not, like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But you're about to hit a good spot here, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You want
enough about our horrible situations. They're not that horrible. We're pretty blessed.
Oh my God. See, I've got an eyelash in my eye, and I'm like dying over here. Anyway.
Yeah, that's all right.
You want to talk Saw?
I do want to talk Saw because I've been watching a lot of Saw, Tim.
We both have.
Yeah, so I rewatched. So this is very funny, by the way. I want to mention it real quick. One of the guys I work with in the wrestling company I do stuff with rewatched all the Saw movies because he's a big fan. Uh-huh. And I was like, I should rewatch those. And then I saw they were all on Hulu, and I was like, yes, like I'm good to go. So I was inspired by him. And then I think you were kind of inspired by me.
Yes.
And then...
Especially when you get to 4, 5, 6, because you were texting me. I'm like, I don't remember these.
Exactly. That was what I was most excited to watch. And then Kevin Nauman.
Oh, really?
He went back and rewatched them as well.
Okay.
And so there's a whole Saw resurgence here spreading throughout my different...
I'm going to send Kevin a bracket.
Oh, yeah, Kevin should fill one out. He's not seen Saw X yet. He's seen it all the way now through Spiral.
Okay.
He knocked him out, too.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a movie guy.
No, he's not.
Not at all.
He just likes Chud 2, right?
Chud 2 and The Deadly Spawn are his 2, and Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Those 3 movies
That's
are
not
like...
a bad trio
No,
of movies.
It's a sick trio. Yeah, he likes Hocus Pocus. So
is Harold and Kumar is the one with the line "Bullets, my only weakness"?
Yes, I believe so.
That's right. One of my favorite lines in cinema.
And NPH wouldn't do that. That's one of the best lines.
So we both. Well, okay. So you rewatched them all. I actually only rewatched 1 through 7. I wanted to watch I wanted to watch the Kramer.
Jigsaw and Spiral are very...
I had kind of recently watched those, so I'm pretty good.
They're not terribly connected to the rest of it anyway.
I watched the Dead Meat, the kill counts for a refresher on those.
Oh my.
Yeah, just before the podcast because I didn't get around to them before. I fell out after 7. I don't need to.
If you're going to miss any... I mean, not from a quality, but like if you're going to miss any to watch this, those are the 2 to miss.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So we watched Saw X, which is out to rent or buy. I'm going to save my Vudu rant, but it's bullshit. You can't watch on more. If you buy it, you can't watch at the same time with somebody else on another TV.
Oh.
Like I can't send my login to somebody and be like, hey, all right, start it now. Like it blocks you. Now they can watch it at a different time.
Did you discover this when I was watching it?
No, I discovered this when I was watching it with Joe. Because Joe and I have a long-standing tradition, but we...
Oh, that sucks.
Because we couldn't...
You both had to buy it then?
Yeah, we both had to buy it. So I was so angry. Because I'd be like, Joe, all right, you in? He's like, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to start mine. And then it was like, you can't watch right now. And so he had to jump on and buy. Anyway. But Joe and I have a long-standing tradition of seeing the movies in theaters, but we couldn't get to a theater.
One of my favorite...
Yeah, of the Saw movies.
Traditions that's not my own, by the way. Love it.
So So Saw X, this is out now on VOD.
Yep.
This has been out in theaters for about a month. It's crossed 100 million at the box office. Cost like 13 million to make.
Oh, it's exactly what they were praying for with the last couple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go through, which we do kind of with like new franchise movies. We like to go through the main characters and kind of some of the we're gonna do traps in this one.
Well, the traps are such an integral part of the whole franchise. You have to that needs to be a showcase.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do some side characters too, like some of the victims. We'll gloss over them because there's only a couple that are necessary, I think, to talk about.
Yeah.
So, you having recently watched, and then we're maybe gonna get to a bracket this episode. If not, keep an eye out for a tiny.
There will be a bracket
at some
point. Yes.
Willie, what did you think of Saw X? Having recently rewatched the series, and just what are your thoughts on the series as a whole and Saw X? Like, lead into that.
The series. Okay, so I never considered myself a big Saw fan. Going into this rewatch of the full series, right? So I knew I liked the first 3. After that, I kind of just. I don't think I found out. I realized I'd never seen 6. I somehow skipped to 7.
Okay.
And I'd never seen Jigsaw or Spiral up until this watch through. And I just kind of dropped out of it because it reached a point where they felt so by the numbers to me, and they were so overly interconnected from like a continuity standpoint that I felt like I had to rewatch it's not like the Marvel movies where people complain about why do I need to watch a show? And those do a pretty good job of how much do you need to know about Captain Marvel to watch Captain Marvel 2? I mean, she's a superhero. That's the Saw movies is a little bit different because they will show you things that happened in previous movies from a different perspective, and if you haven't if you don't remember that, you're gonna be like, what does this have to do with anything? So this is different. And so I kind of dropped out, and I will say this after the rewatch, I'm a Saw fan now.
Yeah.
I think minus one of them, and even then, there's some fun to be had. This is the closest to Friday the 13th in terms of I could pick any one of these and watch it, and I know why I enjoy it individually now, and oftentimes they're for very different reasons. That's fun to me. I'm going to rewatch these movies, but I'm not going to even rewatch them in a full marathon again. I'm just going to be I'm really in a Saw 6 mood.
Yeah. Or
I'm in a Saw 7 mood. If I'm feeling saucy, And so, I'm a fan now. They won me over, somehow now. So I am a Saw fan beyond the first 3, which I was not before. Are they all good movies? No, absolutely not. But it's the Friday thing again, that even the later ones, that some of the ones with major issues, there's some fun to be had with all of them. With Saw X, I thought Saw X ruled. I really do. I think a lot of the praise has been the back to basics approach, and I don't disagree with that. Why I like it is not the back to basics approach. I like it because they easily could have done a forget all the sequels, do the Halloween 2018 thing, do the Exorcist, what's the new one called?
Oh, God, Believer
thing. Forget the sequels, make a direct sequel to the original. And technically that's what they're doing here. From a technical standpoint, this takes place between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it is that, but it's not that, because there's a certain things that happen that tie into later sequels, and I love it for that. That's what sealed the deal for me with this movie, where I was already enjoying it, and then when certain things happen, and I go, sweet, this is firmly set in the universe. It's this is the Tokyo Drift of the Saw movies. This is that cool one that takes place in between, and I like that. I like it when series do this. It feels like a natural early John Kramer story in his work as Jigsaw. It makes sense for the character. It makes sense for the Amanda character where she's at. And what I love about it is I think they finally realized, like, the victims in the Saw movies largely are not sympathetic characters, overly sympathetic characters. I don't want to watch anybody get this stuff done to them by any means, for the most part. But as the series went on, they became less sympathetic. Like, they became, like, worse human beings, I feel like, as the series went on. For the most part. There's that one guy who just smokes. And he gets, like, I'm like...
Well, then there's, the final the final chapter of the opening is, like, she's, like, cheating on one of them or something. Like, come on. That tribe is insane, too. And you're just
that was Hoffman, though.
Yeah, we'll get to Hoffman.
He's a wacko. Anyway.
I forgot. Yeah, that's in line with Hoffman's
That's
MO.
Hoffman's style. Yeah. So... what I love about this one is the victims, for the most part, are so reprehensible that Jigsaw firmly becomes like the anti-hero. Like you're rooting for John Kramer through most of this movie. And that is the delightful approach that I'm going to compare it again, the Friday the 13th series eventually took, to where, like, I just want to see Jason, like, take some people. Godzilla is another example. Like, I just want to see Godzilla stomp some buildings. Like, you're like, he's technically the bad guy, but, like, you're like, it's fine. This is movie magic. We're good. I kind of feel that way about John Kramer now after this movie, where I'm like, yeah, get him, John. Like, I want to see him take down a cartel or something. Like, let's go. It's sweet. I don't need to root for these people to survive these traps. And this is the first movie where, like, for the most part, like, you don't root for them. Like, there's none of them, minus a certain situation, where I'm like, I hope that they make it through this. Like, I'm going to get them.
Yeah, especially, like, the main two victims in this.
I mean, it's gnarly, and I feel bad that they have to go through this, but I'm also like, nah, it's just a movie. I can root it on.
Yeah.
But no, I really
it's pretty fucked up what they did.
It's really
and they're all in
up.
On it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's not like they were duped, any of these people, right? Yeah.
I have sympathy for one of them.
Okay.
And they do make that character more sympathetic than the others.
Yes.
And they do a good job of tying it to, I don't want to say too much, tying it to another really important character's history as well. I really liked that bit there. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But overall, I really enjoyed Saw X. I totally understand why people liked it. I'm 100% down for these 2 more movies they're making.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready for it.
And I feel like the reception is like, we're gonna get unlike the Exorcist movies where we don't know if we're gonna get those next year.
We are.
They're going
contractually
have to make those because they spent $400 million.
They have to make them.
It's funny because, like, that movie like is making money. The Exorcist, like, it's not, but, like, they spent so much money on the rights for that. Mm-hmm. This one, the Saw movies have always been Friday the 13th. They have always been very smart about the budget because you can just set these movies in one location.
There's very much that classic genre filmmaking quality with the Saw movies of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Make them cheap.
Yeah,
and make them fast, and make a profit. It's worked forever, so why not?
So, my thoughts here, and these are my non-spoiler because I want to get into spoilers here because that's where the fun's gonna be. This reminded me, like, do you have a band or a musical artist who you used to love, and you've kept up with? Like, you'll hear their songs on the radio every once in a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then you'll.
What's your band for that? Got an example?
The example would be like, if I think, and we talked a little bit about the one album, is Slipknot.
That's mine too.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking of the last.
Slipknot,
not the last Slipknot album, but the album before the last Slipknot album, the We Are Not Your Kind.
Yeah.
But you hear like the album's really good,
mm-hmm.
but you're like, I don't know. Am I still gonna be into it if I watch it?
Right.
And then you listen to it, and it sounds like their old sound, but a progression of their old sound. Like, it still sounds like
it's familiar, but it is an evolution of.
Yeah. And like there's like in between albums of like a band, and maybe not Slipknot so much, but a band of yours, like they do some weird stuff every once in a while.
Weezer's a good example of that.
Weezer's a good stuff. Yeah, Weezer is a good example of that.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? Weezer's probably a better example because I've kept up with Saw a little more. but you're like, you know what? This sounds like what a 2023 Weezer's album should sound like to me.
Yeah.
But like with Saw, this feels like a Saw movie, but it's different.
It is different. Yeah.
It's more of I was impressed, like you said, with how they towed the line between not doing like a legacy sequel, but still kind of doing like the Halloween 2000. It's a standalone movie.
It very much is.
I think you could go in. I actually think you could go in blind. You wouldn't get certain things. You wouldn't get certain characters, but I think you could pick up enough with like context clues that you would grasp enough. Like you would grasp Amanda and John have like a relationship. Like I've always thought kind of like a father-daughter. But
you could show this to somebody who's never seen a Saw movie, and I don't think they would walk away frustrated or confused by it. Yeah. I think they would walk away going, now I want to watch the other ones so I can...
They could follow that main plot of John getting revenge on the people that have wronged him.
Yeah.
It's a little slower paced, too, and I actually ended up digging that because it gives a lot more time with... It's weird with those movies. We get a ton of time over like 6 or 7 movies with John Kramer. Mm-hmm. But this it was the first time like I felt like we got to spend like quality time with John. Like I think they really grasped the character and his philosophy and his motivations and stuff. And I'm gonna say this: I think Tobin Bell is incredible in this movie.
So this is the first time he's really been able to, perform.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the first few movies. The first movie, especially, he's not able to. But the 2 and 3, all of his scenes are he's playing the game with people. We don't see a lot of John outside of him, cracking riddles at people. Like there's not a lot of that. After that third movie, we see a lot of John in his past. But they're all these little like snapshots that are all like in sepia tones or like out of like weird like they're just like little vignette things that you don't really get a full feel for a performance out of it because it's just these snapshots. It's just these bits.
And some of his character in later sequels is told through his ex-wife.
Sure. Yeah. So it's technically it's like a secondhand thing.
Right.
And so this is really the first time that he's been able to like fully like inhabit the character.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that for him, over the course of doing all these movies, he has a firm idea of who John is and how he would react to things. Like, I mean, how would you not? As an actor, I think you would have to have that. If you play the character enough, you would have to have some sort of like, I don't know, like stepping into that mindset or that psyche, I guess. And he's able to really like chew on it now in this movie. And it's super cool. And the same for Amanda, to be honest with you. I do think we get more of her. We get more performance out of her in like Saw 2 and 3 than we even do with Tobin Bell's character with John Kramer.
Right.
But this one, we're able to see a bit more of her pathos as well, and I think it like, and it's actually like, dare I say it, it's like. I mean, I think both those performances, especially Tobin Bell's, are like really, really like strong, like really good stuff.
Yeah, and you're right. It didn't hit me how much like this movie benefited, because I watched it twice. But it like this movie benefits from having Jigsaw and Tobin Bell on screen throughout the entire movie. Like it, he kind of leads you through it, and like I didn't realize like how important he is to this series, even in small doses,
for sure,
until like we got to spend some time with him. The traps are all gnarly as hell. There is one that is just look out. We'll talk about that. Yeah, everything like we'll get to the bracket, but man, everything worked for me. I think maybe it could have used a little bit of tightening up in the beginning. I think it maybe but like I wouldn't lose anything. I would just kind of make it move a little quicker. But
it's a wee bit longer than it needs to be.
Yeah,
but I don't know what you cut.
There's a character we'll talk about that I think gets a little bit extra, a little bit extraneous towards the end. Parker, I think he's a bit too much. I understand why he's there, but then we get to the third act. Spoilers. I'm like, but then I'm also like, why is he there? So anyway, I like not to focus on the negative though, because I really I love this, and it's towards the top of my Saw rankings.
Yeah, I think it's going to wind up there too. I like to do brackets on the fly.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, we're going to start with Jigsaw. We're going to start with John Kramer in this movie. We've talked a little bit about Tobin Bell's performance.
I know, right? Like,
yeah. Jigsaw is weird. He's a weird He's a weird character to me, John Kramer in general. He has a philosophy.
Yes.
But he's also full of shit. I'm glad this movie calls him on it.
Yeah.
I also think it's not just a character. Cecilia calls him on it late. I also think there's an interesting scene where he's sitting in the park and he's drawing the traps. And he kind of realizes, like, if he's cured, he's not going to do this anymore, right? That's how I read that scene.
I don't know, because
he's not going to test people.
If we're looking at continuity, how many traps has he created at this point? Anything pre-Saw 1.
Right.
So there's a handful of those that we see. Amanda's trap. We see the heavyset guy in the barbed wire that's climbing through. There's a few. So he's already, like, not. He will say he didn't kill them, but he's already, like, put people through this a few times. And then all the events of Jigsaw in the barn are pre-Saw 1 as well, correct?
Right.
So he's done some shit already. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I like that read on it, that he's kind of. And if that's the case, then he is full of shit.
That's kind of how I read it, and I like that the movie, because his a lot of his philosophy to me has always come across as hypocritical, because you know what, it is murder.
Well, it is, and what's interesting is what my issue I have with the John Kramer character as it moves on throughout the series.
Yeah,
as we learn more about his previous traps and stuff before Saw 2, 3, whatever, is that often the people he selects are not random.
Right.
They're people that, like, screwed him over in some way or had something. So I'm like, this just feels like revenge.
Now, I'll say this. Yeah, to go along with that, though, I don't think what we're talking about is even what makes a great villain is that they are so committed to the fact that they think they're right.
Yes.
They're in the right all the time. But as a viewer, we recognize that no, they are full of shit. They're wrong. Like, that's what makes a great villain, is like they think they're right.
Yes.
But they're not necessarily.
The best are that way. And not only that, but you should have some level of not empathy but sympathy for what the villain is going through.
Right.
Not the actions that they're taking as a result of what they're going through, but you should have some understanding of why they went there. You know, and I do with this particular film. I see why he, I see why he's doing what he's doing. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And I would never do it. I think it's craziness, but I see why I could see how his brain decided this is what I'm going to do.
Sorry, I almost fell. It's funny. There is a naivete to John Kramer too. He wants to believe. I think he wants to believe in the good in people. Was he low income housing developer or?
Well, he was an architect and a building designer. So yeah, he worked in that stuff.
And his wife, she worked with addicts, correct?
She worked in a clinic. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So they have a history of helping people out, and you can tell that's part of his traps is he wants to see the good in people. And he wants them to see the good in themselves. They have to go through all this. But it's also what gets him into trouble in this movie. Mm-hmm. Because he's desperate, and he thinks these people are here to help. And they are not here to help. They're here to trick him.
No, they are not. No, I mean, we already mentioned Tobin Bell's performance is really, really great in this. Like, really, really great. I'm so happy that he's... The first time was 2002, right?
Yeah.
I'm so happy after all these years he's finally really been able to give us a real strong lead performance.
He's 80 too.
Yeah, and he looks great. Good for you, Tobin.
He does, yeah.
But he's just damn good. Like, he's really, really good. And I hope I haven't read a ton of reviews of this. I know that they're mostly positive. I hope he's getting his flowers, for his performance.
He seems to be, yeah.
Good, because he deserves it. So,
he reminds me a little of, he's played the character a lot in these movies, the same.
Yeah.
And he reminds me, he doesn't remind me of Robert Englund. Robert Englund gets hammy as he goes along.
Yeah, yeah.
He always reminds me, these performances remind me a little bit more of Doug Bradley as Pinhead.
I was going to say Doug Bradley,
because even in the worst Hellraiser movies, there's a class to Doug Bradley's performance.
Doug Bradley brings it every time.
Yeah, he is committed to that character.
And he has to know that some of those are not great.
Yes.
I mean, you know.
I don't think there's a Saw movie as bad as the worst.
God, no.
I don't even think there's a Saw movie as bad as half the Hellraiser movies.
No, you're right. Hellraiser. That's yeah.
But what I mean is like he's as ridiculous as these movies get.
He's never phoning it in.
Never.
No, he's never. And it would be easy to do that. No, I like that Jigsaw and John Kramer feel like the Punisher in this movie. I feel like
there's always been a little bit of a Robin Hood aspect to him.
There is. So
and that's made explicit in this movie.
It's kind of cool leaning into it. Yeah. Like, I mean, why not?
He's kind of an anti-hero in this, like you said with the Punisher. Yeah.
He is.
Because he's essentially punishing bad people.
Yes.
But doing it in a bad way.
Yeah, not great. But I mean, the Punisher is a tough character to rally behind too in a lot of ways. Like, he's murdering bad people from like the traditional, but like, is that right? Like, is it?
Right.
I don't know about that, so it's, yeah.
And the other thing with John too is he's kind of I think there are shots in some of the earlier movies where he's like a spiritual guy. He seems to be a religious sort. I think he's got a cross in like the background. He's always come across maybe like spiritual, not religious would be by
sure.
But like you can see like I really like how conflicted he is at times in this movie, and I think it's interesting. And it's a guy who maybe late in life has lost a lot of his faith in humanity, just faith in general. He's taking it out on humanity in some ways, or he's trying to get them to see.
Well, he's trying to open their eyes
by playing God himself and a lot. Yeah.
Well, and I like that. So that's the. I'm glad you mentioned that. You get to kind of see his not hesitation, but there is a bit of him that's pulling at what I am doing is that right? Like, is it okay? Is this? There is some of that in this, and you don't get a chance to see that in previous movies.
Right.
So that's cool because we spend so much more time with John this time around, and just as John, not as Jigsaw. We're able to see that, and it to me, I think this is one of those rare prequels. I mean, it's a prequel, I guess, or a midquel. I don't know what you would call it. That legitimately does what it should do, and
like a sidequel.
Yeah, right. We're getting real complicated now. That's good. It actually, I think it would benefit other movies in the series purely by its existence.
Yeah.
Because now we know more about him as a character. So
I would agree. I think it deepens. A lot of
absolutely.
it.
Yep.
Anything else on John in this one?
No, John's great.
Let's talk about. So we're doing Jigsaw and his apprentices first. So
yes.
Let's move on to Amanda.
She's
back.
Shawnee Smith. Love. I think like the fans were just as pumped about, if not more pumped about her return.
She's my favorite apprentice by
Yeah. She's
like as a character. I think she's the most interesting apprentice.
First, she's not the funniest, but she's the best.
Hoffman's not my favorite, but man, he's a joy to watch at times.
He sure
especially
is.
Part 7 when Hoffman goes fucking ham.
Hoffman got wild, baby. That movie rules. So people are really psyched about this because Shawnee Smith obviously has not been a major part of the franchise. She did pop up in a couple of the later sequels in like cameo bits as flashbacks, but she's not been a major part of the series since Part 3. And for a lot of people, as it turns out, that was kind of like the people kind of started to drop off. They felt the quality kind of declined at 3. How you feel about that? Whatever, but that seems to be the general consensus. So having Shawnee Smith back is very exciting. I think she's great. I always enjoy watching her in pretty much everything. Like Becker, she's great. Yes. Becker, yeah. The Blob, the Chuck Russell Blob. Shawnee Smith rules. And she does not get as much to do as Tobin Bell in terms of a performance in this, but with what she has to work with, she does a ton and it mostly is buoyed by the connection she has with Gabriella, who is the young. She's in on the scheme. She's the young drug addict in the game, and Shawnee Smith does a ton with that. Like there's a lot of really. I mean, it's obviously very much in your face. Like, oh look, there's a connection here because she went. But Shawnee Smith's performance rings true to me, and it feels real. Like she she is very, very torn, and she seems new to John's stuff at this point, which she would be, right? Like, this seems like they've probably only been working together for a little while now. Because this is pre-Saw 2.
Yes, this is in between 1 and 2.
1 and 2, so they probably have not been, doing the games together for too long at this point.
In fact, we finally get to see the moment. Well, not finally. It's not like I was waiting around for it. It's not like the Clone Wars or anything, but we get to see her asked to be his apprentice.
Yes.
And it's actually, I think it's a really touching kind of great moment.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah. So it's, I think she does I think her chemistry with Tobin Bell is really strong. Like,
or
really
to carry
strong.
on his work, I should say.
Yes. Yeah. To like be the successor.
I'm going to ask you about the chemistry with Tobin Bell and John Kramer. I've heard some people say, like, speculate there's a romantic side to that.
I think
I've always thought father-daughter.
I think he views it more as father-daughter. I do think that there's a part of her that,
because I think it's part 3 where she says, like, she loves him or whatever, right?
I don't think it's romantic necessarily from her side. Romantic isn't the right.
Okay.
Like, I don't think she wants to sleep with John necessarily. I don't think she would say no.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I think she's deeply emotionally connected to him, and she would be willing to, whatever form that took for her.
Right.
With him, I think it's pretty strict. Like, he loves her as a pupil and as like a child, like a daughter type figure.
And he's a man that late in life would have been having a child, but it was ripped away from him. So yeah, so it's an interesting relationship that I think is very. I think, like you mentioned, I think she's conflicted too. Not just she's conflicted with herself, but also with John and what they're doing.
I mean, how could you not be?
Yeah,
and she's a character who's now gotten clean. So she's now, like, sobered up, gotten off the drugs and stuff, and that's got to be an eye-opener. I've never been through it, but, like, that's got to be an eye-opener right there. So, like, to go from where she was at to now, to be entering this new phase of her life, and then have this violence and this, like, nastiness be a part of that, like, it's got to be it's got to be tough to, like, digest that, I would think.
Right.
So, no, I think she's great. I hope. If we're doing another sequel, so I don't know what form that's supposed to take yet. I hope they do another one that, like, takes place in between.
Just keep doing this, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, until the third one, wherever that route goes. I'm with you. I would like to see these.
Do another one that we can bring the two of them back together.
Yes, I want to see one more,
and maybe incorporate our boy.
So yeah, we're gonna. She's the most sympathetic of the apprentices, and I think that comes across here. Yeah. Her hair is bad in this.
It's not good. No.
Maybe the worst horror hair since Courtney Cox.
It's been worse though. I think there's one.
Okay.
Like Saw 6 or something.
Okay.
She has like a wig on that's like really bad. Yeah.
So it was great to see Amanda back.
Yes.
The only thing I will say, and this would be a problem if they bring her back, when we get to the third act again, like, I was kind of like, there's no tension with whether she survives because we know she survives. And so there is always going to be that inherent problem. It's not a huge deal, but it is like she does just kind of stand around for a lot of the
true. That's true.
For a lot of the finale.
That's true.
I have this one. We could just mention this one real quick. He might not be an apprentice, but he's John's friend, I think, at the end of this. And then we'll move on to who we really want to talk about. But Carlos, the little boy.
Carlos rules.
He's a cool character, right?
He's a cool little character, yeah.
Do you want to see him become an apprentice?
Nah.
Of John, carry on his work.
I want to see Carlos right off into the sunset.
Okay, he's been saved.
Yeah, just live a good life, Carlos. He deserves it. No, I love the John Carlos stuff. I think it's great. I think it works.
He's an innocent.
Well.
Yeah, he's innocent. Carlos is innocent. John does not kill innocents.
And you can see him, like, John is not in a good spot when the collar thing goes around his neck, even though even though it's part of the plan, all this stuff, a lot of it is part of the plan. Like,
well, Carlos was not supposed to be.
Carlos was not. But like, even though, like, John has a plan still, because he's always got a plan.
But that was an interesting moment to see John get kind of...
He's shaky at that point.
He's kind of waylaid.
Because he's trying to figure out, what am I doing here?
And he kind of realizes, like, oh man, my actions have led to this innocent
I sucked him
kid.
into this.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure, yeah. But no, I really dug it.
And then he says no halar a bunch.
Yep.
Or halar.
No halar. No halar. Yep.
Yeah, Carlos is cool.
Carlos is sweet, and I love him giving the money at the end. Is like, yeah, it felt like the Punisher.
It was like fist pumping John Kramer, Jigsaw.
Dude, I want more of that.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're taking down shitty people. Speaking of fist pumping, let's talk about the finale, the mid-credit scene, also mid-movie scene. Hoffman is back.
Yeah, okay. Mention that first. There's a conversation on the phone.
There's a where he calls the detective to what was he trying to do with the detective?
Look into somebody.
Yeah.
We find out later he was looking into what's his name, the guy who turns out to be part of the whole Parker.
Yes.
We find out later that that's who he was looking into. But
yeah.
As soon as he talked to the detective, I went, are they doing this?
Then he shows up in the mid-credit scene and he's got the dude hooked up that gets John.
The one who initially suckered him in.
Yeah, the former military guy that has the scar and everything. Yeah.
We
are Hoffman fans in his own way, right?
He's great.
He's ridiculous. This guy
is the best.
He's basically Maniac Cop.
Yes,
but a Jigsaw apprentice.
Hoffman's the Terminator, dude.
Part 7, he literally is at times.
It's insane. He makes it through 4 movies. Fucking kills everybody. Everybody. Every supporting character is dead by the end of those movies. It takes Cary Elwes to show up to take him out. And even then, we don't see him die.
The thing with Hoffman is, like, for a little bit, I always thought, like, I would think Jigsaw would be more drawn to Amanda because of his past, his ex-wife, just
sure.
like feeling for her. And it was always weird to me that he would be drawn to someone like Hoffman, who's an obvious psycho. Like, he's crazy.
Well, so it's weird. So having recently rewatched him as well, like, Hoffman always seemed like a means to an end, in my opinion. Yeah. Because he was blackmailing Hoffman the whole time.
Right.
It was not like, he was like, basically like, I will keep your dirty laundry out of, the authorities' hands if you work with me to do these traps or be my contact in the whatever Hoffman works for. Like, he's like detective, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They make it seem like he's like an FBI or a CIA agent. Like, he's not.
No, because the FBI.
No, because he kills the FBI agent.
Yeah, the FBI doesn't get called until like part 4.
Yeah, and then Hoffman just fucks all them up too. It's sweet. He kills them all.
But Hoffman is like it's the two sides of John, though.
Sure.
It's like the good and Amanda's kind of the good side, and he's kind of the bad side of John.
Yeah, or Amanda represents the idealist in John.
Right.
The dream of what these games are going to accomplish for people, right? They're going to change these people's outlook on life. Hoffman is like the practical, like, I got to get the work done. So I'm going to need a Hoffman. What I love about Hoffman later on in the series is that he just stops. Like, he starts just killing people for smoking cigarettes, for having affairs. He has a very low a very low plateau for what you need to do to, and it rules.
Draw his ire.
He spends a whole movie just offing people so he doesn't get outed. Like, they didn't do anything wrong. They're just like literally just cops doing their jobs, and he's like, nah, you gotta go. Gonna have to go.
So he calls sweet. Hoffman in the movie. The only problem with this is I texted you this too. Is like I was distracted the whole movie.
You're waiting for
where's
him.
Hoffman? He's coming.
Did you think he was gonna show up at the end like the cavalry when they were both chained up and stuff? Like everybody was chained up.
No, at a certain point I kind of went like, okay, like he's not gonna be here. And then Joe texts me. He's like, hey, is there like an after credits thing to this one? And I Googled, and I'm like, oh shit, hell yeah, there is. And then Hoffman popped up mid credits. I was gonna make a Nick Fury joke, and then I realized you technically could have Sam Jackson, Nick Fury show up in the Saw movies because he was in Spiral.
He was.
So the joke wouldn't really work, but it would kind of work.
It would kind of work.
Were you happy to see Hoffman back?
Hell yeah, sweet.
Do you want to see him in future?
Yes.
Well, I guess he has to be. So
here's the thing.
Yeah.
If we take the Saw X approach, we laugh because Hoffman is a fucking goofball,
right?
And he's great to watch. He's like the Roy of,
right?
He's like the Roy, but he got 4 movies.
He has more movies
than Kramer
as
an active. Well, not anymore.
Right
now, yeah, but still. Yes, because I think Costas is actually quite a solid actor.
Right.
I do. And if they can do for the Hoffman character what I think they did for John Kramer in this, and to a lesser extent Amanda, I think they could actually benefit some of those later sequels by like giving us more Hoffman pathos. I think it's sweet.
Yeah.
Or don't. Just have John and Amanda be like the emotional like.
Yeah, and just have Hoffman.
Tell him to shut up and quit crying. We got a job to do, John.
Suck it up. So there's John and his apprentices.
Yes.
Do you want to do traps or do you want to do the victims next?
Traps.
All right.
We can kind of talk about the victims with the traps. So
okay. Yeah, there were only a couple I wanted to mention as far as. All right, we're gonna start. We're gonna go through these. Eye vacuum trap. This is.
Oh God.
This is. I think This is the second dream sequence. The first dream sequence is in Saw 7, Saw 3D. Betsy Russell gets hit by a train.
She dies twice in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, she does.
The first death is the cooler one, too.
That's the
train running through her?
Did she get the bear trap, though?
Oh, yeah.
So that's like the best moment in Saw 3D because we finally get to see the bear trap.
Her two deaths are the two best deaths in the movie.
So this is the second dream sequence. It's more of like a daydream. John is watching this guy in the hospital. He's going to steal something.
Yeah.
A crazy punishment for stealing is
insane.
But that's John for it. Like, I think maybe what we're seeing is like this is the first draft by John.
But he's got to work out the kinks. But John's mentality, though, here's the thing: you have to remember. Think about how John thinks. John's mentality is just break your fingers. That's a fitting. You stole using the hand,
right?
Just get your fingers broken, and you'll be fine.
Right.
Like, in his mind, he's like, this should be no problem for you.
Right.
Like, just get it done. But, of course, they never do because we want to see the gore.
Yeah.
That's an easy test to pass. Yeah, let's go. Turn the dial. Let's go. Break the finger. I don't care.
I would do that, too.
Like
some of these,
I'm like, you're dead. The dude's doing brain surgery on himself. I'm like, I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm just going to go, all right, let's fucking
just get wait. There's one later, too. But, like, this
that's
one,
silly.
I'd break my fingers.
Yeah, I literally can't just go, boop.
Yeah,
it sucks. It sounds awful.
It'll be awful.
Like,
there are worse.
You've got tubes strapped to your eyeballs, and you think that this is the worst.
The eye sucking thing's pretty sweet, though.
It's sweet. Well, yeah, I don't want them to pass the test. I want to see the whole thing. It's great.
So we've got that one. We've got the pipe bomb trap.
The pipe bomb trap is the.
That's the dude who drives him,
and
he rips it out. That's the. Like when he's ripping out the bomb inside of him, that part's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, pretty solid stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this is okay. I forgot about this.
He survives, right?
Does he? Yeah. Wait.
He does.
Does he? I can't remember.
Oh,
I've watched it twice.
You're like, I don't know.
That's because I've been focused on this trap, and I'm just gonna say it. This is my favorite trap in the movie. This is the bone marrow. This is the Geely Saw trap. This is the one where she has to take the piano wire through her legs. First of all, this is not a great trap because it's borderline impossible.
It's insane. Who is providing proper medical care to her after she does this? Are they going to cauterize the wound afterwards? Like, if they are, they do say like get her to a hospital. So like, I guess maybe they had a plan for this. I don't know. It's insane.
So she's got I called it the audition trap in the Discord because it's very much like Mike's audition. Yeah. It's cool that John is apparently a J horror guy.
He's got a couple references in this one, right?
Yeah. So, I think it's more of a game than a trap too, because she's got to fill up the bone marrow.
It's goofy.
The sound design though is like I winced multiple times.
The sound of the piano wire, like
just like
crunching through the
flesh ripping, and the decapitation is so. There's a really bad decapitation in one of these movies. I think part 5. The decapitation looks good here.
Yeah, and the head pops up later, which is funny.
The director is the director
Kevin Grutert.
He did 6 and 7, and I do think like this is kind of a in some ways for both of those kind of I want to say like a retribution for him in some ways because 6.
Yeah,
I like 6, but he gets to dive more in. I actually think he gets to dive more into like the scam artists that run like the healthcare system in this movie in a lot of ways. It's a little bit. He gets to deal with that.
There's some of that.
And he also gets a budget that he didn't have on 7.
7 feels like a sci-fi.
Maybe not a budget, but maybe it just looks better. And
7 looks like a sci-fi movie.
Right.
Most of the time.
Yeah. It's the worst looking movie of the bunch.
Yes. There's one. 5 is like dark.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking like I can't see shit in this movie. Like
it's the cheapest looking. Yeah.
It's the cheapest looking for sure. 6 is funny. I like 6 a lot. Maybe it's just a piranha, but
piranha.
Piranha. Piranha. It's the best.
So you were not as crazy about the bone marrow Geely sauce.
Oh, it's good. No, it's good. Good stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Not my favorite though. I don't think.
We've got the brain surgery trap.
That's the best. It's so gross.
That's
dude.
Your favorite one? Yeah.
Homie's cutting out his own. It's so nasty. Like I actually
the
looked
gray
away
matter
for a
and stuff.
second.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the slicing of the head that didn't get me. It was the peeling up of the skull chunk. And then how he just kind of drops it, and it kind of goes like it's like my 5-year-old dropping a chip on the floor. It just kind of goes bloop.
Can I ask you? Do you think this is some movies get lumped in with torture porn, and I get it, like the quote unquote torture porn movies of the 2000s?
Yeah.
Do you think this is the most torture porny of the movie?
No.
Which one do you think?
I gotta.
Oh, you gotta think about it.
It's not. But
okay.
I have to think about
these
that.
two traps though were like just brutal to watch.
They're very brutal. I think there's worse. 2 is pretty torture.
Yeah, you're
porny,
right.
dude.
You're right.
That guy burning alive in the
needle pits too, isn't it?
The needle pit's gnarly. There's some pretty nasty. The girl with her hand through the glass thing, and she's trying to pull the.
Oh yeah.
And their skin's flaying off,
Okay.
and that's pretty torture porny.
This is a nice callback though.
Yes.
To the 2000s.
Yes.
So yeah, and this is the
John is more torture porny than Hoffman.
Yes. Yeah.
Hoffman just gets to it.
This is the mask. Is it Aztec
it's
or
so
Mayan?
Sweet. Yeah. It just, I guess, burns his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John's not much. He doesn't have much of a sense of humor, but I thought he probably got a chuckle out of that.
Oh, Piranha.
So this is your favorite trap, the brain surgery one?
Yeah, it's just so nasty. You have to love it.
The radiation machine trap.
This is just sad. I
didn't like. This is my least favorite one too.
It's nasty, but I think it's kind of by design.
Yeah.
Because it's this might be the most torture porny movie. Because this feels pretty.
This
torture
or
porny too. You might be onto something here. I'm trying to do they blend a little bit? The Hoffman movies blend.
But 2 is the one that stands out now that I think about it with the traps.
It's a little bit torture porny in that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do feel bad for this girl. So, and I think but John's trap certainly does not kill her. So,
this is one where she pounds the foot.
Yeah.
Oof, fuck. But you know what?
I could do that.
I could do that too.
Yeah, I could do that.
I think I could. I would definitely get out of this one better than the brain surgery or the.
I wouldn't even try the brain surgery. I just say, can we just close the mask?
The piano where I would get a little bit in and just go, fuck, kill me.
I'd probably give it a shot for a second and go, nah, I'm good. Let's go.
Or I'd be like, you mean like an audition?
Like for real? I got to do this.
Can
I do a different one?
I don't like the way the heat looks in the radiation machine. It just looks kind of, I don't know. This one looks kind of cheesy.
And it feels sloppy. It's just she's kind of hanging by a chain. I don't know.
Sorry.
It's the weakest one.
The blood boarding trap at the end.
Oh my!
This is the one that he and the kid go through, Carlos.
This is sweet because it's like it's the first time you see John get a taste of his own medicine,
right?
And it's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Like of all the ways for these people to go, like this might be the worst in certain ways because it's so prolonged and like. Can you imagine the drowning aspect is like I it's a very clever trap. We don't get to see it used properly, obviously, as its intended purpose, but I think it's a cool trap.
Unfortunately, it's a nice it's because it's waterboarding is essentially what it is. Nice callback to the 2000s too.
It is,
yeah.
Indeed.
When waterboarding was all the rage. Yeah,
a lot of that going on. Yep.
Yeah, this is a nasty trap.
It is.
Do you think this is our most new metal franchise? Saw?
Is Saw the most new metal? Does Resident Evil count?
Shit, yeah, it does.
Because that's the most new metal.
So what I would say, Resident Evil had a new movie too, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
Because I was going to say, like, new metal is making kind of a comeback lately.
The new Resident Evil is not new metal, though.
That's what.
Does this feel new metal to you? This one?
This feels like an aging. I compared this to Slipknot. This feels like an aging new metal band.
Okay.
Maybe maybe had some kids.
This could be the potential for the
new
metal resurgence.
Yes.
I don't need to see a new Hostel though. Can we leave that alone?
I was bummed when I saw that Thanksgiving trailer, the new one. I'll probably watch.
I haven't seen it yet.
I was kind of hoping the Eli Roth Thanksgiving. I was kind of hoping like they just do it like because the trailer in Death Proof or Grindhouse.
Oh, it's phenomenal,
awesome. Yeah. And then like the trailer now, it's just a slasher movie taking place. You know, it might be kind of fun. Eli Roth, I would like to see just do kind of a straightheart slasher where he gets to.
It might be good for him to just.
Yeah, just do some kills.
Yeah, sometimes he gets so up his own. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's not every movie can be Knock Knock.
Oh, I love Knock Knock.
Was that our favorite?
I don't know if I dislike. I think I like.
Is that our favorite Eli Roth movie though? Knock Knock, both of us. You know what? We thought Hostel 2, and then we rewatched it, and we're like, I don't think we like this as much, but
Hostel 2 is just nasty.
Yeah, I like it better than 1. Hostel 2 was my favorite.
Green Inferno was just stupid. But also really funny. It's so mean.
Yeah.
Like, remember the nicest guy in the movie gets killed like the worst?
Green Inferno hates a lot of people.
You and I saw that in the theater.
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
it was a cannibal movie that came out.
We were cackling the whole time.
It was a theatrical callback to Italian cannibal movie.
What? How did that get released? Anyway, yeah, I don't know what Eli's best movie is. I'd have to dig into that.
We don't have to.
I think Cabin Fever's pretty good too.
Oh, you know what?
For what it's worth.
I like Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
Finally, the gas chamber trap. This is at the end.
I mean, look, it's fine, but they deserved worse, which they were going to get because they were going to be the bloodboarding.
Yes,
that was the intention.
Yeah.
So the gas chamber was kind of like calling an audible, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like a backup plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That's the thing is like a lot of this stuff. Like towards the end, but it's perfect Saw. To me is like I didn't really get what was going on, but then that music hits, like Hello Zep hits.
You don't care.
I don't care. Perfect, makes
because you know John or Hoffman or whoever's got it figured out.
I agree with you. They get it as bad. The only thing is it plays out kind of like a wacky comedy, so it makes them look really stupid. Like they're just fighting over trying.
Because they are.
They're just stupid, mean people.
Yep.
I guess the last trap is the post credits, the scar tissue trap, but that's whatever.
We don't get to see it, but it's sweet looking.
Yeah.
Like the centipede legs that are like. That's cool.
And finally, we'll just run through the victims here. Cecilia, I just wanted to mention her because she's like the main villain here.
She's terrible.
She's like off. Like
she's good at it though.
I think she's. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good villainess performance because like you have to have someone worse than the guy who sets up traps to kill people.
The person who's burning people's faces.
Yeah,
and, yeah.
She has. Honestly, maybe my favorite moment of the movie where she digs through that woman's gut to pull out her intestines
with zero remorse or like it's amazing.
Joe and I were texting and we were just like, "Holy shit!" right now.
She's tossing it to people and shit. It's so sweet.
She like drags the corpse. That might be one of the more insane.
I laughed really hard when she started using the guts.
6 is more. Oh, sorry.
No, when that was like a big chuckle moment for me, like her rounding up the guts and like tossing them.
She's the one that gets to call John out for being a hypocrite. She will kill a child. She does not care.
Zero cares.
Yeah, no. John won't. She's a scam artist too. This movie 6 is more aimed at insurance companies, right?
Yeah.
This is more at just like scam artists and shitty people.
Yes.
She knows he's Jigsaw too. That's kind of an interesting little.
Kind of fun.
She's driven by greed, selfishness, evil. Like that's John. John hates them. Those sort of people. Parker, he's the dude that shows up halfway through. Kind of drives things towards the end.
He's a cartoon character by the end of the movie, but it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in love with Cecilia.
Yeah.
Or he wants, yeah. Diego Dr. Cortez, quote unquote Dr. Cortez. They're in the crew.
The anesthesiologist?
He's the dude that drives, I think.
Okay.
Mateo, is he the anesthesiologist? He's the one.
He's the one with brain surgery.
He's the one with brain surgery, and he was the one that was killing me because they do it twice. He makes a noise when he gets electrocuted that is hilarious.
I didn't catch that.
He just goes.
It's like a Prince sound.
And it's like a running gag. They keep electrocuting him in this movie.
They do. He gets shocked 4 or 5 times.
Even the brain surgery thing is like, yeah.
He gets shocked twice during that. In the midst of it, I think. Yeah.
Valentina and Gabriella, they're the.
Gabriella is sympathetic. I'll give her that.
Yeah. Valentina.
I do feel bad for her.
Yeah. So, there we go.
The rest of them, it is what it is.
Saw X. I think we've covered it.
I think Hoffman says it best. Don't you pick John Kramer? to mess with.
We're at an hour. Do you want to knock out a bracket?
We can do it.
Yeah, I think we got. I've got a little bit here.
Yeah, I don't think we need to like, wax nostalgic on every movie. In terms of, we can't review every movie, but we can do a bracket.
We can talk a little bit. Yeah, not a little, but yeah. Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna bring this bracket up. I had filled out, but it's taking me forever to bring it up. So
let me start it off then. So up first we've got. Well, we had to set up who's going up against the original Saw.
Yes. So I did the IMDb ratings. So Saw is the 1 seed, and these are the lowest 2 seeds.
The lowest 2 seeds. We've got Saw 3D versus Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Okay.
What do you got, Tim?
I have got. This is tough, actually.
They're two very different beasts.
I've got Saw 3D. And I like Spiral.
Tell me why.
Saw 3D is the trashiest Saw movie possible. And there are a couple things I like about it. You get to see Hoffman go just crazy in this one.
It's true.
You finally get to see the reverse bear trap.
You do.
The kills are nasty. Mm-hmm. There are some dumb retcons in this, but not as dumb as in Jigsaw, if I remember.
There's a really funny moment in Jigsaw. Yeah.
Mostly it's what I mentioned, Hoffman. So this is, but also because it is the trashiest. I like Spiral. I think we've talked about how it's kind of like the Halloween 3, the black sheep of the series. Mm-hmm. The thing with Spiral, though, is it gets kind of boring.
Okay.
Yeah. It just gets kind of dull. So I'm going Saw 3D because Saw 3D is constantly entertaining.
You love some good trash.
And there's some cheesy 3D effects in it, too.
I never watched it in 3D, so I don't. Right. I mean, I recognize the 3D effects. But
yes. Yeah. Watching it, you can tell where the 3D, and I love that in a good 3D movie.
It's great.
So I'm going Saw 3D, but I don't know. I don't dislike either one of them.
It's a tough one, yeah. I'm going to go Spiral because I was weirdly surprised by how much I liked Spiral. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I do too, yeah.
It was, Chris Rock is not great. I'll just be honest.
He's doing stand-up bits the entire movie.
Yeah, he's not terrible, but is he some sort of revelation? He's not.
No.
That being said, it did feel like a breath of fresh air. We kind of lose the Billy the Puppet stuff. We had a different Saw killing voice, or he's the Spiral killer now.
Yeah.
I think that canonically we call him the Spiral killer, not the Jigsaw. He's
right.
different. I don't know. I just had a good time with it. I like the social commentary going on here. It's very super in your face.
Police brutality or police corruption, I should say.
It's very much in your face, which is fine.
Saw's always kind of had that running through it, though. Not so much. Well, yeah, a little bit.
Even the trashiest ones have always tried to do that.
Yeah.
So, I dug Spiral quite a bit. Saw 3D is everything you said and more. It is just an absolute delightful trash fest, and we get the return of Carrie Elwes, which is hilarious, because it makes no fucking sense.
Does he have does he have a mustache?
Nobody should.
Spiral. So they de-age the characters in Spiral. They give Sam Jackson a mustache.
Oh yeah. So the Saw franchise de-ages characters by either giving them a mustache or putting a backwards baseball hat on them,
and sweats.
That's it. That's how they do it.
Chris Rock has a goatee and a backwards hat.
It's so sweet.
I believe. Yeah.
There's one point in the franchise where John Kramer just has a backwards hat. And they're it's supposed to be 10 years before, and I'm like,
there's a really good meme.
Good on you.
There's a really good meme that floated around the time this was releasing, because the new Blink 182 album came out, and it's elder millennials.
I'll take one of the
millennials. It's going there's a new Blink album and a new Saw movie in the theaters.
Perfect. Anyway, so I'm gonna go Spiral on this one.
Okay.
I'm actually surprised. Like that, I did not go into it thinking I was going to be that, not passionate about it, but I'm a Spiral defender.
It's Bousman, Darren Bousman is the director.
Yeah,
and he's good. He's good.
People are haters on Spiral a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do Saw versus our winner in that one, or do we want to move down to
Let's move on to Saw versus that one.
Okay, so Saw, you have 3D, and I have Spiral. So the original versus those two. What do you got?
I'm gonna go Saw. On this
OG.
one. It's the better movie. We'll get into what's weird about Saw is, I actually think it's similar to Friday the 13th, and it's not my favorite.
Spoiler. Even though it's the original, it's
even
not.
Though I actually think the template of these movies gets locked in 2 and 3.
Yes.
This you can see it. But it's like Friday the 13th. You can see a lot of the stuff is there. A lot of the tropes are there.
The bones.
But it doesn't get really locked in. but it's the better movie than Saw 3D. And at the end of the day, I'm going to go Saw.
I too am going to go original Saw, and it's not because I think it's the best in the franchise. Spoiler alert. I like Spiral quite a bit, but the original Saw is, and part of it might be nostalgia because when I first watched it, I remember my head exploding, and I was like, oh my god. A lot of it has to do with the twist.
Yeah.
To be fair. It doesn't age great.
Right.
I think other movies in the franchise age quite a bit better. But there's something really cool about...
Michael Emerson is in Saw.
He is.
He's Zep. I forgot about
Zep.
that. Yeah.
There's something really cool about the kind of indie, underground, like, young filmmaker with a shoestring budget vibe about Saw that I like a lot. That none of the rest of the franchise has. And
we're both James Wan fans.
We're both Wan fans. This is nice to see his early, his beginnings. I forget Danny Glover's in this movie every time I watch it, and he's giving a funny performance.
I'm gonna kill you, you sick asshole. He's doing him and Elvis are doing something.
Some stuff.
Yeah, and you can tell like Wan's a first time director by their performance in this movie because they seem so. Yeah,
they're in control of whatever they're doing, and it's not always the best. Ken Leung is in this too.
Danny Glover never returns. He's like the only person.
Oh, but his character does.
In
the Saw video games.
That's right.
Detective David Tapp returns.
Have you played those?
No.
Okay. No.
I've heard they're actually not bad.
Yeah,
anyway,
I think so too.
So OG Saw for me moves on for you as well. All right. Gonna move down?
Yes.
Saw 6 versus Saw 4. Oh my. I'm going to go first on this one.
Please do.
It's the Battle of the Hoffmans. I'm going to say this to you. I remember Saw 4 being the first point in the series upon my initial watching of the series as they came out as like okay, we're falling off now. All right. I never saw Saw 6. I literally just didn't watch it. Or I watched it and forgot I don't think I watched it. My memory's not that shot at this point, okay? My body's falling apart, but my mind is still intact. I was so surprisingly impressed by how much I enjoyed Saw 4 this time around that I was like, do I like this movie? I think I kind of do. Saw 6 is hilarious. It is. Saw 6 still has a little bit of a budget, but nobody really cares. Like, they're just going for it. Like, they're just, it's slapdash. So this is tough, because do I go for, what is the better movie, which is 4, in my opinion? Or do I go for 6, which is the goofiest shit? Some of the goofiest shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to go for 4, because I hate to do it. I love 6. It's got the Piranha line. But at the end of the day, I think 4 just... It's our first full Hoffman movie, and it has fun ties to 3. It takes place during the same time period as, during the same exact day as 3, which is kind of fun to find out as you go through the movie. And I was just kind of pleasantly surprised by 4. So I'm going to go 4.
This is the toughest.
It's hard. It's hard.
Actually, there's a tougher one on the other side for me. Okay. But this is a very tough pick because I'm looking through my notes on 4. And this is the one where Dottie is just on the block of ice for 90 minutes.
The whole movie, it's great. He does nothing but groan.
He does nothing but groan, and then at the end, it just smashes his head.
His character serves no purpose. It's great.
It's awesome.
The obsession with continuity that keeps him around. It's great.
We get Cecil in this one. This is where we get introduced to Cecil. But he's also he has one of my favorite lines. Joe and I say it all the time. It's like, "I'm bleeding, man. I'm bleeding." He's the one that falls into a bunch of knife wire. He gets the knife mask.
Oh yeah.
Jill. This is where you start getting to the Jill Tuck lore.
That's right. Which is
we get Hoffman in 4. We get the FBI finally showing up. This is the one
Scott
that starts.
Patterson's here.
This is what's insane is we're 10 movies in, and this is what starts with the autopsy of the main character. This one.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
I am going to go 6 though because Piranha.
Yes.
And it has, I think, maybe my favorite trap in the series,
which is
the carousel.
It's good.
It's so good.
It's good.
I love the carousel. And it also, I don't know, 6 is just a lot of fun for me because now we're full on cut.
It is the most this is a slasher movie sequel feeling movie in the whole franchise.
Yes. Yeah, because now we're just full on. And the continuity is ridiculous. And it has the added bonus of taking on the healthcare, the insurance system.
It's very funny, yeah.
Like, it is just mad and mean, and I feel like it's cathartic in its own way.
It is.
I've got 6 here. I kind of, rewatching it, I kind of loved 6.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we're moving on to the final round here on the left side of the bracket.
Yeah.
It's the semifinals.
We've got different things here. Yeah.
Is this the West? The West?
Yeah, I mean, it's on the left. It's on my left.
The West.
Yeah.
We both have the original Saw. Moving on.
Yes.
So we've got that in common. But you have Saw 6 going up against OG Saw, and I have Saw 4.
Right.
I will say for me it is OG Saw still. There's enough of a like I said, I wouldn't say it's the best film. I don't even know that it's a better made film than even 4 or 6 in a lot of ways, like in terms of the filmmaking. But there's something about the grittiness and the rawness and the gusto of the film that I really admire that, and it makes it a fun watch. And I do think that the goofiness of Cary Elwes' performance and Danny Glover's performance actually kind of like help the film in some ways. Like they make it more fun to watch. So I'm gonna go Saw OG.
Yeah, what's funny is, so I've got Saw versus Saw 6, and I was kind of over the air because I like Saw 6 so much for the reasons. Saw 6 is really mean.
It's very you.
I think, though, I'm going to go Saw on this side. What's funny is that the other side of the bracket is way harder for me.
I am the same.
Yeah, Saw, what it comes down to me is, like, it's the vibes. But anytime, like, I watch Saw at the end, I remember being in the theater for
it brings you back.
I'm just like, I can't, like,
it's
I
that
fall
nostalgia
for it.
factor, but it's pure nostalgia. It's nice nostalgia. It's not like you're like drooling over something. It's like you said, it brings, like, it takes your brain back to a moment.
Yes. Yep. Like, I remember being in that theater and just going, oh shit, this is the sweetest thing ever. So I can't. Yeah, I can't, like, when John reveals himself.
It's the
like,
best,
it's
dude.
the coolest
and that's
moment.
just when the music kicks in. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. It's like the coolest moment you can think of. I'm going Saw just for that moment alone.
I agree.
There's just not a moment but that's tough though, because there's not a moment in a lot of movies like that. So
no, that's an all-time twist in my opinion. Really, it is. It might be a top 10 twist for me all time. And so I think that's a lot of the reason why the hello's that music, when it kicks in, it doesn't matter what's happening. Even if you can't comprehend it, you're like, because it takes you back to that. Yeah, let's go.
Can you think of like a movie moment like that like transports you back to like the first time you saw it each time?
Yeah, there's some for sure. The ending of Heat, when the Moby song kicks in, that's another one where I get very melancholy. But I remember the first time I saw it, I remember being like, oh my God. Like I remember where I was sitting, the house I was in, the couch I was on, the feel of the couch. That's a weird one for me. Like that one always gets me. That's just one example. But what about you? Anything that...
The first one that pops into my head, weirdly enough, is the first Spider-Man, and it's the ending when he walks away. And then swings from the grave, and then swings, and because it's like it's one of the most like triumphant, like bittersweet but triumphant moments ever. It perfectly captures it, and like that's like one of the moments that sticks with me. Like as far as like a theater going experience that still works for me every time I watch it. Yeah, that one.
The Night of the Living Dead is another one, the original.
Okay.
I immediately am taken back to that. Like I feel like my brain is the age I was.
Right.
It's weird. It's this weird, like, it is like a time machine for a second. Like, it's almost like my brain takes a second to, like, snap back to, and it's one particular part of that movie that always gets me to, like, I remember where I was. It's weird that yours are theater and mine are... Mine are home viewing ones. But there are certain movies for sure. Yeah. Saw is one of them.
Yeah.
But mine was at home with Saw, too. I didn't see it in the theater.
Okay.
I watched it on DVD. No. But I remember the joy I felt when John rose to take his throne. All right.
Oh, you know what? One more theatrical.
Yes. Yeah.
When Dewey survives in Part 2, Scream 2, I remember like the crowd I was with cheering, and now every time I see Dewey, I think of him.
That's good.
Sorry.
I saw that on VHS.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Sorry. That was before I thought.
No, Scream 3 was my first theatrical, I think.
Okay.
I was
a couple years older than you, so yeah.
Yes, you were seeing stuff a little bit earlier than I was in the theater. Yep. My dad had to have a vested interest in the movie to take me.
Yeah.
He didn't have a problem taking me to rated R movies, but like he had to want to go see it, and so it was hit or miss. Okay, we're moving on to the East. Let's start off with to find out who's going to take on Saw X, which we just reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to be Saw 5 or Jigsaw, which would be Saw 8. 8
is 8, yeah.
I don't. These are the weakest two movies for me in the franchise. Are Jigsaw and Saw 5?
I would agree.
I do think Jigsaw is better.
I'm with
Saw
you.
5 is just boring.
Saw 5 is boring. Saw 5 is the cat and mouse between Costas and Scott Patterson.
On forever.
The ending of Saw 5 is really good.
There's some decent traps in it, but everything in between is just like.
Saw 5 is actually where I felt done with the series.
Yes, me too. Saw 4 was the first time I went, this might be not headed in a direction I like. And then Saw 5 was, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I skipped Saw 6. I told you, I must have skipped it.
Yeah, I think I watched, so I remember, I didn't see Saw 6 with, Joe and I watched all the Saw movies at home, and I saw 6 with him for the first time.
Yeah.
And I remember going I'm digging the hell out of this. This is cool. But I fell out after 5.
Yes, that was me too. Yep.
Yeah. But you know what? There's something to be said too and I liken this to a lot of things in pop culture today, of just taking a break from something that you like, even if you
come back to it,
take a break and then come back, catch up.
There's
and then
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, maybe you'll fall in love all over again. Yeah,
I feel like the rabidness of fans is most of their downfall.
Yeah,
and by rabidness I mean having to digest everything. Take a break.
Take a break.
Do something else.
Yeah, if you're not liking something,
stop it.
Stop. Come back and see if you like it.
Life's too short, man. It is.
Yeah.
These guys are falling apart that you're listening to right now. His knee's all messed up.
Yes.
Yeah, my arm. Take it from us. So you're gonna go Jigsaw as well then?
Yeah. I like Jigsaw for the most part. It's just got some dumb stuff at the end.
Okay. We have to briefly. The silly moment of John Kramer putting his arm around his apprentice we've never seen before, has been mentioned before, in a barn as they're father and son making traps is dumb. It's dumb because it's just goofy, but it's also dumb because it's kind of continuity breaking in a lot of ways. Where was this guy?
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me.
The positives for the Jigsaw though are there's a decent amount of Tobin Bell in that one.
There is. The laser trap is sweet.
The laser trap, where his face just falls.
So sweet.
The bucket thing is cool at the beginning too.
There's some good traps.
I like that it goes back to basics in some way because things had gotten so out of control. Yes. It's also really nasty. Some of the stuff is really mean.
Yeah.
But it looks good. This is Sperry Brothers who did.
It looks solid.
Yeah.
It's well made.
Were they Daybreakers?
Yes.
Oh, I love Daybreakers.
Daybreakers rules. Saw 5 is just dark. Lighting.
Yes.
And boring.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's the weakest Saw movie for me.
Yeah. As much as I love Luke from Gilmore Girls.
Of course.
But.
Anyway. What is it with Part 5s in franchises?
Yeah.
We love a certain Part 5, but a lot of people don't. So, Halloween 5,
not great.
It's one of the worst.
Which one's Hellraiser 5?
4 is Bloodlines actually kind of
there's
no, you like Part 5. It's Inferno.
I do like Part 5. So before there's a work burn cut flying around in the new 4K. There's a new 4K quartet of something. Hellraiser 4. That's I kind of want to
more Adam Scott.
If I get frisky and get get the 4K thing,
send it on over.
I'll let you know. Because I'm very interested in Hellraiser 4.
Oh, me too. It's fascinating. Nightmare Part 5 sucks too. Dreamchild.
Nightmare Part 5 sucks. Halloween 5 sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So let's finish this spot up here.
This is a
Saw
tough
X
match.
versus.
Oh, okay. This one. Okay.
Jigsaw. We got same thing here. It's Saw X.
Yeah,
if you want to know my feelings on Saw X, listen to the rest of this episode.
The first hour of this episode.
Probably already did.
Yeah.
Jigsaw is just. It's an okay Saw movie. Saw X is a step above.
Jigsaw and Spiral feel like rough drafts as to what they were going
attempts at.
Yes. Yep. And once again, there is something said for like some of these places keeping the franchises alive, trying different stuff like this. I always think back to Scream, the TV series, where you keep it alive.
Yep.
It's different, but then you come back for Scream when audiences and people are ready.
What's funny is, and even Scream, the TV series had 2 attempts as well.
Yep.
Because the third season is not related at all to the first 2.
Right.
So it's funny.
Still never watched that. Yeah.
I've heard it's not.
That's a thing.
Watching.
Yeah. I actually like the TV series.
Me too. Yeah. I wish they'd have.
But
there's a novel coming out.
Yeah.
There's a novel coming out.
Interesting.
That wraps up the TV series.
Oh. Ooh, please
like
don't
all
let
the
me
characters
forget that.
from the so you can finally see the finale of what was planned for the show.
Oh, good. I like those characters. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Exorcist is a good example too because the TV series kind of kept it alive in the meantime.
I never watched season 2. I feel bad. I'm part of the problem.
It's really good.
I know.
It's really good. You should just watch it anyway. It's.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So we both have Saw X. Moving on, I think it's safe to say.
Yep.
Down below that, we got Saw 2 versus Saw 3.
This matchup is really
tough.
These are both Bousman movies, right? Darren Lynn Bousman?
My favorite Saw movies are all Bousman movies.
Me too. I think he's the guy that
he gets it the most.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, this has always been in my head. James Wan, obviously, but I've always associated him with the series.
Well, you just got done saying that Saw 2 you think sets the actual precedent for what the series would be.
Right.
The identity of the series. Like, I don't think... When I think of Friday the 13th, I don't think of any particular director because they all changed. But I don't think of Sean Cunningham right away. Like, I just don't. So, it makes sense.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
I've got 2 moving on here, and that is no slight against 3 because these are 2 of my favorites.
Yeah.
I can't even... This has the pig gut stuff. I guess with 2, it comes down to I just like the traps a little better. And I like the victims a little better. And by I just I think they're kind of an interesting crew.
They're more interesting, yeah.
Yeah, because we got the jock dude. Shawnee is in this one. This is the Donnie Wahlberg one. This is where Donnie first shows up.
Donnie cuts loose too.
Yeah, we get this a lot of family drama here.
Yep.
This has got the furnace kill. This has got
the needle pit.
The needle pit, which is the wrist cutter.
Yep.
This
Dude's
to
cutting
me,
tattoos off of people's necks and stuff. Yeah.
The thing is, 2 and 3 are like Fast 5 and Fast 6 to me, where I just I think this is the peak of the franchise to me.
Agreed.
Yep. And so it's basically just flipping a coin. I like Saw 2 a little better, I guess, but that's
sure.
But for no real reason other than maybe I like the traps and the characters a little more. But yeah.
I go Saw 3.
Okay.
I think Angus McFadden is legitimately a better actor than Donnie Wahlberg and is a more interesting protagonist based on what's going on with him. I think his personal connection to the victims, that they are all in some way involved in the fact that the guy who killed his kid in a car accident got off in some way, I think that's interesting. I think the traps are really good. I actually think the traps in 3 are better than 2 overall.
Okay.
The needle pit's great, and that's the standout. But I think everybody always thinks of the needle pit, but the rest of the traps in that movie are not that great.
Okay.
In 3, we've got the frozen woman, who's got the ice cold water blast.
This is I think it's our first nudity in a Saw movie, isn't it?
True. Yeah. Yep. And only, I think, right?
Dina Meyer?
Kind of.
No, we don't. We just see her
post nudity.
Yeah,
it's post.
I think there's someone in the later ones.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's not a lot, which is fine.
Yeah, honestly, this is not a franchise that actually
doesn't
lends
need
itself.
No.
The parts where there's titillation, the beginning of Saw 7, where her breasts are.
Yeah.
You're this
feels weird.
That's part of why
very Saw 7.
That's why I kind of like it though, because it feels like a slasher movie.
Yes. Yeah. We've got the pig guts in this one, which
so gross
is awesome. We've got I think the nastiest, hardest to watch trap in the entire series, and it's the guy who killed his son in the drunk driving accident, and it's the slow twist of the arms and legs.
Okay.
Where it breaks everything.
Oh.
That is a rough Rough.
Now you're making me think I do like Saw 3
This is a
better.
mean movie. Like, really mean. Like, he makes it all the way through. He actually actively saves one of those people.
Yeah.
Makes it all the way through, and then watches his wife get killed. And then after she gets shot and killed, her head explodes. And then after her head explodes, he shoots Amanda. And then after she dies, he cuts off John Kramer's head, and then he gets locked in a box, and he's done for. It is so mean. Nobody gets out scot-free. Nobody gets out alive. Nobody gets out. It's just mean. And but it's also,
this might be the most torture porny one. 2 and 3 are pretty torture porny.
They're both.
The one you're talking about, the rack.
It's bad, dude.
Yeah.
When his arms and legs are twisting.
Yeah.
It's gnarly. So 3 for me is like, I don't know. It's nasty, and I like that.
This is our most bingeable horror movie franchise, right? Because like you're not like
it actually benefits from a binge.
Yeah,
watch.
I think so too.
I think part of my dropping off the series, and probably yours too, was like they weren't that far apart. Because they were like a year apart each.
Right.
But like I couldn't remember shit from the last one.
No.
Like
right.
I remember The Trap or 2.
Right.
From 4 when I went to watch 5 or whatever. But it's very binge worthy. It feels like just a TV show when you watch it. It does in a good way.
Yep.
Unlike most TV shows, which feel like
the first 6 especially, I think
feel like episodic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go Saw 3. I love Saw 2. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the trap house. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Not trap house, but a trap house.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But 3 for me is just the extra. I love Angus McFadden. What can I say? All right. On the East Coast here, we've got Saw X. We both have Saw X. You've got versus 2. I've got versus 3.
So
Tim, what's it going to be? This is tough.
All right, I'm going to say this right now. Saw 2 and Saw X are my 2 favorite Saw movies. And my 3rd favorite Saw movie is actually on the side of the bracket too. That's Saw 3. I'm going Saw 2.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, I think it's, in my head, 2 and 3 are the quintessential Saw movies.
Yep.
And 2 is kind of the one that sets that. Kind of like, sort of like, I would say like Friday the 13th part. I would say part 3 probably, actually.
Part 3 is the one that really sets
the
pinnacle
mask.
is 4.
Right.
But 3 is what sets the standard.
Yes. So that's what that's why I'm going 2 here. Saw X is very good. I guess maybe my knock on it is it's a little slower than I like it. I kind of like the way Saw 2 does things, which is
We keep comparing to the Friday franchise, and I don't like doing that as often as we are, but it is what it is. We're going to keep with that theme. Saw X feels like the remake of Friday the 13th to me, and I mean that as a compliment.
Right.
It feels like a new version, a new evolution of the things I loved from the previous stuff. But is it the pinnacle? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So who you got?
3.
Okay.
And I'm not going to bore everybody. It's the same reasons you just named for 2.
Yeah.
I love Saw X. I think it's a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it, but 3 for me is the pinnacle of what a Saw movie is and should be.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with 3. All right.
So it's
finals,
Saw.
dude.
I've got Saw versus Saw 2, which is so lame.
And I've got Saw versus Saw 3.
But like I said, I think I spoiled my winner earlier by saying like this is my favorite. Saw 2 is my favorite because it's Saw to me.
This is Saw.
Saw. It's Saw isn't Saw. Saw 2 is Saw.
Yep.
So.
It's Saw 3 for me for the same reasons. For me, it's the same reason why in many series it's not always the first. That's my favorite. It's just Nightmare is not this.
Nope.
That's not my favorite movie. The
Me
original.
neither.
Friday's not my favorite. God, I'm trying to think of other examples. There's more.
Halloween is
my
favorite. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite.
Yes.
And Hellraiser. So I guess maybe.
So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it is a mixed bag.
But yeah. So in this case, Saw 3 for me. Saw 2
but I wouldn't
for
just
you.
limit that to horror. I would just say like Fast and Furious.
The first is not my favorite.
Spider-Man, my favorite.
Mission Impossible. No, first is not my favorite.
Yeah, there you go.
There's plenty of examples.
This is why I've always defended sequels, is because
a
lot of times my favorite ones come down the road. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Alien, the Alien franchise.
Yep.
I'm an Aliens guy.
Terminator.
Terminator.
Are you more of a Terminator guy? It's weird because I would think
it's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I'm
You're a big
always,
Salvation fan?
I actually like Salvation.
Wait, which one's Salvation? I was trying to make a joke about
the Guy Ritchie one. No, the McG one.
Okay, Salvation.
With
Christian Bale?
Yes. That one's actually...
What was the joke I was trying to make? Genesis?
I've never seen it, and I don't... there are 2 Terminator movies that come out since
neither one of them are worth watching.
Genesis is the one with...
Jason Clarke?
Matt Smith and Jason Clarke?
Yeah.
Not seen that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Jai Courtney's in that one, too, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's the one where they brought back Linda Hamilton. Dark Fate.
That one I didn't hate. I might say watch that
Maybe?
one. Yeah, maybe watch that one.
All right.
How close do you hold the Terminator series at this point?
Not that close.
Yeah.
I like them, the first 2. The Terminator series for me is 1 and 2. I don't care.
Okay.
I write my own canon. I've learned that I can just ignore everything.
3 has an incredible ending.
It's sweet, yes, absolutely. But
yeah.
I can just end it with 2 and I'm good. It's the same with Aliens.
Yeah.
I don't need Alien 3.
Die Hard I have to have with a vengeance. And then
that's where it ends.
With a Vengeance is kind of awesome.
I kind of...
Yeah. Are you more of a With a Vengeance guy?
No, original's the best.
Yeah, okay.
With a Vengeance is the second, but I don't mind the 4th one.
Okay.
Have you seen the uncut, where he's able to just...
No, I haven't. Honestly, I haven't. And
if you've only watched the PG-13 version, him being able to ramble and say F and...
It is. It adds. It's an important part of the John McClane character. Yes.
Try it again.
I've never actually seen
him
5.
and Justin Long are really good together.
I've never seen 5. I should like 4.
5 is awful. It's not a Die Hard movie. It's just a direct-to-video Willis movie that somehow... Yeah. Anyway, okay, we're moving on. So Saw. I had Saw 3, you had Saw 2. I don't think either one of us is wrong here.
Nope.
We would love to hear your opinions. What's your favorite Saw movie?
I'm going to post the bracket, yeah.
Want to play... That's not want to play... See? Want to play a game. I want to play a game. What's your favorite Saw movie? See, I did them both.
Yeah.
There you go. Excellent. What are we doing next?
I don't know.
We don't know. We did not prep for this.
This was kind of my choice.
We've been prepping a lot.
Okay, so it's
lately.
Thanksgiving is our next holiday. If you want to do something holiday.
Thanksgiving movies.
Thanksgiving. The killer turkey.
The turkey?
Blood Feast, I believe.
Blood Feast.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well.
Or is there something that you want to watch?
No.
Okay.
I don't mean that in terms of there's nothing I ever want to watch, but I just there's nothing I have in particular that I'm...
When's that Godzilla series come out? I'm not pitching the series, but do you want to do another Godzilla movie?
We could. If we do another Godzilla movie, I would say it had to be something more horror-oriented.
Okay. Like
the original Godzilla, which is more of a horror film.
I think we've done that.
We have. No. But I want to do something like that, where it's not... My favorite Godzilla movies are where he's fighting other monsters, but those are not the more horror-oriented one. Have we done Shin Godzilla yet?
Yes.
We have?
Yeah, it was excellent.
Shit.
Yeah, it was a very good episode.
Damn.
Yeah.
How do I forget? Well, we've been going a long time. How many years are we doing this now?
We're going on 6, I believe.
Yeah, so, Man, okay.
Yeah, the new Godzilla series will be out. Well, we've done Destroy All Monsters, too.
Yes, so we could do... There is one... Let me see...
I don't want to do the Broderick, and not even ironically do the Matthew Broderick one.
No. Tell the folks where they can find us while I look
at
this
HM
up.
Yearbook on Twitter, Horror Movie Yearbook on Facebook and Instagram. Email us at horrormovieyearbook@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube page. We do upload the episodes. There's a part of me that it keeps telling myself I'm going to do something kind of fun on the YouTube page, do some quick videos, maybe even bring back kind of doing a top 5 new movies I've watched or whatever.
Yeah.
Not anything too intense, but some fun video stuff. So follow us on YouTube basically, and maybe I'll put something up on there other than just the podcast. But yeah.
We are going to watch Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah: Giant Monsters All Out Attack from 2001. Yes, that's the whole title.
All right. Is this streaming?
It is free on YouTube, free on Pluto TV. So
perfect.
Enjoy.
Giant Monsters.
Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah: Giant Monsters All Out Attack. Also shortened as Godzilla GMK, I think is the common.
Is this good?
It is.
This is good. Yeah.
This is what's interesting is this is a malicious Godzilla, and actually Mothra, King Ghidorah, and another kaiju are the good guys, and Godzilla's a bad guy this time.
Yeah.
So it's the reverse, where like Godzilla is the total bad guy, and King Ghidorah is a good guy even. This Godzilla is composed of the restless souls of Japanese soldiers killed in World War II.
Oh my God, sorry. This is wonderful.
Yeah, so he's like Ghost. They call him Ghost Godzilla a lot of the time.
Okay.
So...
All right.
It's more horror-oriented than the other ones.
Perfect.
That's why I chose it.
Perfect. So while you're enjoying the new Apple TV show, everybody, you can listen to us talk about that
Watch the tortured souls of Japanese soldiers.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Stay safe out there and stay scared, even when you're playing a game.